Welcome back to Assassin's Creed: The Complete Story. I think we made a mistake. We tried to cover the lives of the characters themselves before explaining the importance of the overall plot. So let's rectify that. Edward is next, then Ezio, then Aveline, and finally Altair. We're actually streaming Assassin's Creed 4 storyline most nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you come on over to our Twitch channel and join us. The link will be in the description down below. This information is actually gathered from Infected Crow, that'd be me, being an obsessive nut over this game and its series, and playing every ounce of content they bring out. Oh, and we verified the facts over on the wiki, link is down below also. At the core of Assassin's Creed is the struggle between the Templars and the Assassins over pieces of Eden and the vaults of the first civilization. This struggle was brought to the head by a single technology, and a single man capable of surviving it long term. This technology is the Animus. And the man is Desmond. It is Desmond's lineage that is linked to Ezio Auditore, Edward, Connor, Haytham Kenway, Altair, and Achilles. You recognize all those heroes, right? Even Achilles? Yeah, he's a Roman ancestor of Desmond's that comes in from the Roman Empire. There's a whole graphic novel series about that, and we'll explain Achilles much later in the video series. Desmond grew up with his father, and as we found out from the Assassin's Creed 4 backstory of Desmond, his father trained him in the skills of the assassins. It was simple testing to begin with, such as learning patience, quietly walking, and staying hidden. He was taught all about the assassins and the Templars, but he grew tired of it all and thought his parents were conspiracy freaks. Using the skills they taught him, Desmond ran away from home to make his own life at the age of 16, and eventually he sought employment as a bartender at the Bad Weather nightclub. He did a real good job of staying hidden until Abstergo Industries found him in September 2012. Abstergo turned out to be the descendants of the Templars, and they had a machine known as the Animus. The Animus would allow its users to relive the genetic memories of their ancestors. Abstergo was looking for someone with links to the pieces of Eden in their history, and through their research, they had discovered that Desmond Miles had a rich history with the Assassins. Not only that, but he proved to be one of the few individuals that could stay in the Animus for extended periods of time and not get adverse effects. At this time, the Animus was a very early technology, and it was known for burning out its test subjects. They strapped Desmond in with threats that if he didn't help them, they would just put him into a coma and had him relive the memories of Altair. Altair was an assassin during the early 1200s and the man who moved the Apple of Eden. After going through many of the important moments in Altair's life, they learned the location of the Apple of Eden, and they considered Desmond to be expendable at this point. But before he could be killed, Lucy Stillman, a research assistant, had freed him. Lucy was actually slipping clues and hints to Desmond the whole time to help him figure out how to escape, and it was her who was giving him the tools to unlock things, such as the researcher's emails that Desmond found out that he was in fact Subject 17. While he couldn't dig up much information on the first 15 subjects, he did find information on Subject 16, who had apparently experienced a bleeding effect which allowed him to carry skills and abilities out of the Animus. As it would turn out, our mild-mannered research assistant Lucy Stillman was actually an undercover assassin. She helped Desmond escape, and they all met up with Sean Hastings and Rebecca Crane, two other members of the Assassins organization, though they were scientists, not the badass assassins that we would come to know and love. The four of them fled to Italy to continue going into Desmond's genetic memories where they would discover a new ancestor, Ezio Auditore. They chose to go in when Ezio first became an assassin and was training. They wanted Desmond to acquire the same skills by living through Ezio's training, and they were hoping the bleeding effect would give him these skills himself. Once Desmond went far enough into Ezio's life, they discovered where he placed another Apple of Eden, which is apparently on the top of the Pope's staff, and it was located underneath the Colosseum. But that wasn't all Desmond learned through Ezio. Ezio walked into a vault where Minerva spoke to Desmond through Ezio. Ezio was extremely confused, but he stayed and listened so that whoever this Desmond was would be able to hear it all. Minerva warned Desmond and the assassins of the end of the world that was coming and told of a war between the ones who came before and their human subjects. Before they could get more into it though, the Templars had found them and they had to flee. They chose to go straight to the Colosseum and attempt to get there before Abstergo. Desmond went through a series of trials that he had to figure out where to jump and parkour and what the secret to the puzzle was to open the door. But once he had done it, the Apple of Eden was within his grasp. He then grabbed the Apple of Eden, and with it in his hand, he lost control of his body. Juno, of the first civilization, took control of his body through the apple and forced him to kill Lucy Stillman after revealing that Lucy was in fact a triple agent. so he was actually still working for Abstergo. Desmond fainted and slipped into a coma from the shock of what he had done. It was at this time that William Miles, Desmond's father, put Desmond back into the Animus in hopes that it could revive him. During this journey, they discovered that Ezio and Leonardo da Vinci had actually discovered a smaller vault and found coordinates in it. But this forced Desmond to slip deeper into his coma. William then had Rebecca put Desmond fully into the Animus and only turn on the life support. This put Desmond into the Black Room, a safe mode inside of the Animus. In this safe mode, Desmond met the virtual version of Clay, Subject 16. He was the subject who first experienced the bleeding effect, and he was the one that allowed Abstergo to learn pretty much all of what the Animus can do. Clay explained that Desmond was actually trapped in the Animus because he was still attached to the memories of Altair and Ezio. He would need to finish reliving both their memories until they had nothing left to show him. At this time, he would then reach Sync Nexus and be able to wake up. As the journey continued, Clay explained to Desmond that the Animus thought of him as a virus, but Clay was keeping it back so it wouldn't delete him. Desmond then went back and forth from his ancestors' memories to his own memories thanks to data fragments. He got to relive his life on the farm, running away from home, living in New York, and the eventual capture by Abstergo. On his third trip back to the Black Room, Desmond found the island being deleted, and Clay said the Animus decided to just delete the whole program since it couldn't find the virus. With that, Clay grabbed a hold of Desmond and sacrificed himself to the deletion by pushing Desmond back into the final memories of Ezio Auditore. Ezio discovered that the Apple of Eden that Altair had hidden so long ago, but none of this made sense to him. He began to talk to himself, knowing that this Desmond person would be listening. He urged Desmond through the timeline to make sense of all of these questions and make sense of all of the suffering that Ezio had been through in his entire life. This brought Ezio's story to an end and directed Desmond to the Sync Nexus. Inside of here, Desmond met with Jupiter. He explained that the first civilization had temples all over the world, and each of them were researching different methods of salvation from the impending solar flares that would end their world. All of the temple's findings are being transmitted to the Grand Temple, where Minerva, Juno, and himself would sort through all the data to find the best option. Before they could find an answer to the end of the world, though, they were wiped out by the solar flare and spent the remaining years of their lives rebuilding the world with the humans. He told Desmond to go to the Grand Temple and seek the answer to the end of the world, though he did warn, he did not know how this story would end. With that, Desmond awoke from his coma and headed straight for the Grand Temple. Desmond, William, Sean, and Rebecca all arrived at the Grand Temple, and they hoped to save the world. They hoped to stop the Templars. We hoped for a happy resolution to this story. They quickly discovered that the Grand Temple was locked and required a special key. This, of course, requires jumping into the history to see where it was again. Desmond enters the lives of Haytham Kenway and Connor Kenway in hopes of learning where the key was hidden. During this period, he is forced to leave the temple a few times to find power sources, and even save his father from Daniel Cross. Daniel Cross is the man who kidnapped Desmond before the beginning of the first game, and another man who was toyed and manipulated with by the Templars. We'll cover him in another video, but Desmond kills Daniel Cross and Vidic, the scientist who was experimenting on him in the first game. It is at this time that Desmond would find the key and finally unlock the inner sanctum to this Grand Temple. And it is here that he would find the answer to save the world, right? No, he's been misled because at this time he learned of the devastating secret. The first civilization found no answer. They had no way to stop the end of the world, and they didn't run out of time. They simply couldn't do it. Desmond was given two choices. Forget about saving the world. Hide here in the temple. And after the solar flare wipes out most of humanity, he will come out of the temple as the new savior. He will have the answers to the world's problems with all of the technology the first civilization will give him. He will be their new messiah and their savior. And as time would go on, he would drift into legend. He would be known as a god, and a whole religion would be formed around him. And eventually, the solar flares would return, and hopefully they could stop them then. But it was also made known that there was a device here that could save the world, but it would also unleash Juno. Juno had been imprisoned because of her hatred for humanity, and using this device would also claim Desmond's life. Desmond weighed both options, but regardless, Desmond chose to sacrifice himself for humanity's survival, while expressing faith that his fellow assassins would find a way to stop the new threat. It would now be up to the future assassins to stop Juno's plans and keep her from ruling the world. For Desmond's journey could go no further. With his passing, several hours later, Abstergo, aka the Templars, found Desmond's body. Within a year, his memories were being exploited by Abstergo for the Sample 17 project. It is through this Sample 17 project that you will be experiencing Desmond's memories in the latest installment of Assassin's Creed. In Assassin's Creed 4, our protagonist is you yourself, in first person, working for Abstergo to help and uncover more information of the first civilization for the Templars in the guise of working for a game development company. But more on that in a future video. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like, and make sure you join us for nightly live streams on our Twitch channel. Also, don't forget about our Let's Play channel. A lot of the live streams get recorded and put up there. Right now, we're putting up Mario 3D World for the Wii U. Make sure you join us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Live free and die as an assassin.